Your body is lying to you right now. Not because something is wrong with you, but because you are running software that was written over 2 million years ago, and nobody ever updated it. Every time you flinch at a loud noise, feel sick on a boat, sweat through a handshake, or cry watching a movie, that is not weakness. That is your ancient brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is, it was designed for a world that no longer exists. Here are the most fascinating evolutionary glitches still running inside your modern body, and the strange, brilliant reasons they are still there. When you bite into a fiery chili pepper, suddenly your throat tightens, tears flood your eyes, your nose runs, and you start coughing violently like your lungs are trying to escape. The culprit is capsaicin, a molecule found in chili peppers that tricks your nervous system into believing you are being burned alive. It binds to a pain receptor called TRPV1, the same one that detects actual heat and real pain, and then your brain pulls the fire alarm. This reaction exists to protect mammals from harm. To your body, capsaicin registers as a potential toxin, so it activates every defense mechanism it has. Coughing to clear the airway, sneezing to expel the irritant, sweating to cool the body down. If you were a wild animal that had just accidentally bitten into a poisonous plant disguised as a tasty berry, this response would be completely reasonable. But if you are a human who just paid money for ghost pepper fries, that is a little bit of an overreaction. Modern society may have invented delicious fusion dishes like kimchi pizza, but your body's outdated alarm system still cannot tell the difference between danger and dinner. The aversion to harsh sounds, someone drags their fingernail across a blackboard, and you shudder like you have seen a ghost, your entire body erupting in goosebumps, your jaw clenching tight. This is not an overreaction. This is simply your brain running ancient software. Those grating frequencies between roughly 2,000 and 4,000 hertz happen to fall exactly within the range. Our ears evolved to be especially sensitive to for detecting danger signals. Signals like a baby crying or the screaming alarm call of a primate. In the past, hearing that sound likely meant a predator was nearby or someone in your group was in serious trouble. So your brain learned to drop everything and pay full attention. Your amygdala, your emotional panic center, still gets activated when you hear those sounds today. The worst threat in the modern world might sound exactly like a fingernail on a blackboard. No predator, no danger, just a sensory prank. But evolution never updated that code. Your ears still treat it as an emergency, while your rational brain sits helplessly saying, just relax. It is only a classroom. Motion sickness. You're on a cruise ship, the waves are rolling, and suddenly your stomach turns in the worst possible way. That cold sweat and nausea, classic motion sickness. It feels random, but evolution is likely responsible for this particular disaster. When your inner ear tells your brain we are moving, but your eyes, focused on your phone, insist you are perfectly still, your brain receives conflicting sensory signals and reacts dramatically. To a primitive brain, that kind of sensory confusion means only one thing: poisoning. Our ancestors may have eaten a toxic plant, felt dizzy and disoriented, but survived by vomiting it out. So now your modern brain interprets your vacation cruise as a life-threatening toxic emergency. The problem is, in the 21st century, there is usually no toxin to expel. Just one miserable tourist leaning over the railing while everyone else admires the ocean view. This is evolution's worst false alarm. A better safe than sorry system that expired approximately 10,000 years ago. Fainting at the sight of blood. You see a needle or a single drop of blood, and suddenly the world starts to tilt. Your vision narrows, and then, thud, you pass out. This is your body performing the most dramatic scene in all of biology. Vasovagal syncope, otherwise known as fear fainting. Believe it or not, evolution may have once considered this extremely clever. One theory suggests this is the human version of playing dead. In the wild, Certain animals survive by going limp and motionless. Opossums, fainting goats, even some fawns. Predators prefer struggling prey, so appearing completely lifeless can make them lose interest. For early humans in a panic, staying still may have been enough to make an attacker walk away. This reflex slows your heart rate, drops your blood pressure, and lays you flat, conveniently redistributing blood back to your brain while you play dead. Fast forward to today, and the only thing this reflex protects you from is completing a scheduled medical appointment. The scratch reflex. You know that sudden, completely uncontrollable urge to scratch? That scratch for half a second and it gets worse feeling? This is not random. It is a deeply wired reflex that once saved your ancestors from becoming a parasite's all-you-can-eat buffet. Back when humans had much more body hair and insects were everywhere, a mild itch on the skin usually meant something crawl-worthy had landed on you. The instant scratch and flick response helped eliminate invaders before they could bite or spread disease. Itching may even have been designed to be contagious. If one monkey starts scratching, the others join in, like a prehistoric group therapy session for flea infestations. That synchronized scratching actually helped entire communities stay cleaner. Fast forward to today, we have essentially no parasites, but the reflex remains, now misfiring at clothing tags, dry skin, and even just hearing someone talk about itching. The scratch reflex evolved from a critical parasite defense system into a daily minor annoyance. Sweaty palms, you're walking in the park with your date, your heart is racing, they look incredible. You want to hold their hand, so you reach out, and your palm is as wet as a kitchen sponge. That sudden clammy feeling is part of your ancient fight or flight reflex. For your ancestors, it may have been the difference between survival and a fatal fall. When early humans faced danger, their bodies flooded with adrenaline and the sweat glands in their palms activated, not to embarrass them, but to increase grip strength. Slight moisture actually increases friction, helping you grab a tree branch, scale a rock face, or hold a weapon tightly. In other words, fear literally gave you better grip. Fast forward to today, and the same reflex is now only useful for ruining handshakes and destroying first dates. You do not need sticky palms to walk through a park, but your body still behaves as if you are dangling off a cliff edge. This is evolution's oldest expression of anxiety, a leftover panic grip response that no amount of deep breathing can fully suppress. Blushing, you say something awkward in front of your boss, and your face turns as red as a tomato. You cannot hide it, you cannot stop it, and the harder you try, the redder you get. That is blushing, your blood vessels dilating beneath your skin, flooding your cheeks with color, driven by your body's favorite troublemaker, the sympathetic nervous system. Darwin called blushing the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. And he was right. No other animal does this. Scientists believe it originally appeared in early social groups as an honest alarm signal. When our ancestors lied, broke a rule, made a mistake, or got caught doing something foolish, they involuntarily blush, essentially broadcasting, "I am sorry. Please do not exile me from the tribe." People who blushed were actually more likely to be forgiven, making it an evolutionary conflict resolution tool written in red. Today, it mostly just betrays you. You can blush from a compliment, from attention, or for absolutely no reason at all. Your body leaking emotions you never approve for public release. In ancient times, incredibly useful. In professional settings, deeply inconvenient. Crying while cutting onions, you are chopping an onion, and suddenly your eyes switch into full sprinkler mode. When you cut an onion, it releases a gas called propanethyl S oxide, essentially natural tear gas. It reacts with the moisture in your eyes to form a mild acid that irritates the corneal nerves around your eyes. Your brain panics and orders your tear ducts to flood the area with tears, hoping to wash the irritant away. From the onion's perspective, this is brilliant self-defense. You eat me, I make you cry. The chemical compound evolved specifically to drive hungry animals away. From the human perspective, it is a complete overreaction. Your body is treating dinner preparation as a chemical spill. These are the same terrors your eyes would produce to protect you from actual smoke or pepper spray, just deployed in a hilariously inappropriate setting on a weeknight soup night. The hypnic jerk. You are drifting off peacefully and comfortably, and then suddenly your entire body jolts like you just touched an electric fence. Congratulations. You just experienced a hypnic jerk, one of the strangest evolutionary leftovers in existence. Scientists believe this reflex traces back to our ancestors sleeping in trees. As they dozed off, their muscles would relax, and too much relaxation meant potentially falling from the canopy. So, nature installed an emergency wake-up shock mechanism. Fast forward several million years, your nervous system is still running that ancient program. Except now, instead of a tree, you are thrashing in bed, startling your partner, and wondering if you just lost a wrestling match inside your own dream. Today, this reflex is completely useless. It is your body's safety system misfiring in a perfectly safe environment. More common in people under stress or extreme exhaustion, as evolution's old tree sleeping instinct randomly launches you out of a dream for no reason at all. Shivering. You know that full body trembling when you're cold? Teeth chattering, shoulders twitching, legs bouncing like they are performing a one-person dance routine? That is shivering. Your body's built-in heat generator, triggered by the hypothalamus, your brain's internal temperature control center. It essentially commands your body to start shaking before you freeze solid. Every tiny muscle contraction burns energy and releases heat. When millions of contractions happen simultaneously, your core temperature begins to rise. For early humans huddled in a cave with no jacket, this reflex was life-saving. The biological equivalent of rubbing sticks together to make fire. It worked alongside goosebumps and blood vessel constriction to protect vital organs through long, freezing nights. Today we have jackets, central heating, and hot chocolate. Shivering is evolution's emergency furnace, still running in the background. Genuinely useful if you fall into icy water, but somewhat less necessary for surviving an overly aggressive office air conditioner. The startle reflex. Bang! Someone drops a plate, and you flinch like you have been thrown into a horror film. Eyes snapping shut, shoulders tensing, heart hammering. That lightning-fast whole-body flinch is your startle reflex in action. It is an ancient physical alarm that fires before you're even consciously aware of what happened. Your brainstem processes the threat signal first and immediately sends out a take cover command. Your muscles obey instantly, while your conscious mind has not even had time to tell you to relax, because that was just your mischievous cat pushing things off the table. For our ancestors, this instant reaction was pure survival instinct. A sudden rustle in the bushes might have meant a predator lunging in, and those who flinched, ducked, or bolted first were the ones who lived to pass on their genes. Essentially, evolution taught us to panic first and ask questions later. Today, this reflex still serves a purpose, protecting your eyes. But in a world without tigers, it is mostly just comedy. Triggered in restaurants by popping balloons or by spilling your own latte. Post-urination shiver. You finish using the restroom and suddenly your whole body shudders like a cold wind passed right through you. You just experience what is called the post-micturition convulsion syndrome. Or, if you want to keep it simple, the pee shiver. Scientists can describe it but cannot fully explain it, and it remains officially classified as a bathroom mystery. One theory blames temperature. Urine carries significant body heat away with it, and the brief heat loss in cool air might trigger a tiny shiver to compensate. Another theory blames the autonomic nervous system and its crossed wires. The automatic control network managing your heart, bladder, and digestion. When your bladder empties, your body switches from holding mode to release mode, and the rapid shift in blood pressure and nerve signals briefly jolts your muscles, like your body's electrical circuitry flickering during a reset. Whatever the cause, it is completely useless. It does not help you urinate better, keep you warmer, or impress anyone. It is simply a small glitch your body produces at the finish line of a bathroom visit. Contagious crying. You are watching a sad movie scene and suddenly your eyes sting and fill with tears. That is contagious crying. An ancient empathy reflex still pulling at your tear ducts today. Even newborns do this. If one baby starts crying, nearby babies will typically join in like a tiny, chaotic little choir. Long before baby monitors existed, this reflex was genuinely useful. If one infant cried from hunger, cold, or danger, the chorus of others created an alarm so overwhelming that no caregiver could ignore it. A single cry might be missed, but a synchronized infant chorus demanded attention. As humans evolved, this primitive automatic empathy gradually matured into emotional bonding, the foundation of friendship, nurturing, and compassion itself. Today, it is more symbolic than practical. You do not need to cry when someone else cries, but it happens anyway. It might feel a little awkward, but it simply means you care. And it is an evolutionary reminder that humans were always wired to feel things together. The grasp reflex. Have you ever placed your finger in the palm of a newborn and felt them grip it tightly and immediately? That is the grasp reflex, one of the oldest tricks in our evolutionary playbook. It is automatic, powerful, and completely adorable. For our primate ancestors, this reflex was a matter of life and death. Baby monkeys needed to grip tightly to their mother's fur while she leaped through the forest or fled from danger. A reflex that triggered instantly meant survival. Human babies inherited this do not let go instinct from a time when mothers had much more body hair and tree branches were still a regular part of the daily commute. Today, this reflex is mainly used to make new parents gasp with delight. Mothers no longer have fur, and babies are not swinging between trees. The reflex fades within a few months, replaced by conscious, intentional grasping. It is one of nature's most charming leftovers. Proof that even before we could crawl, we were already holding on for dear life.